Welcome back to another video. I asked 20 different people about the emotional impacts that VRChat has on them, about falling in love through the virtual world, and also if they have any experiences and stories they could tell me about being heartbroken. Today, people share their stories and experiences about relationships and heartbreaks in VRChat. Before we continue with the video, if you guys can, please drop a like and drop a subscription if you like what you see today, and I will definitely create more content in future. Also, I'm going to be doing something new on the channel. Make sure you guys watch till the end of the video. I am going to be posing a question, and I want you guys at home to comment down below some of the replies that you guys give in the comment section below. I'm going to read out at the end of the next video, so stay tuned for that. With that being said, let's get to the video. How much of an emotional impact do you think VRChat has on someone?
It impacted my IRL life, which for me, it is somewhat of a second life, but I also kind of see it as just an extension of my real life.
Right.
Because I meet people in here and then meet them in real life and become friends with them outside of this. But when it comes to the emotional and mental impact, it can definitely take a toll on someone, especially if they're more emotional, like I am. I'm personally more emotionally driven than logically, except for I am logically driven a lot of the times as well.
It comes back to you like high school-esque feelings of groups, cliques, and stuff like that. That having, you know, those really high points of meeting new people and having groups of friends that you hang out with, but then you have those downfalls that even high school would have, that you go into a deep depression. And since you're by yourself, some people are by themselves in houses, and even then that can increase the feeling of loneliness that the game might be able to give between the high points and low points.
I think people put a lot of emotion in this game. Like, it's so close to reality. Like, obviously you can tell that it's not, but I think people really feel like they're, you know, in here talking to other real people, which they are to an extent, but like, I don't know, I think people do put a lot of real emotion into it, and it has a huge impact on you.
It just depends on the person, how what their life is like outside of VRChat, because I could see people going into VRChat and they think it's going to be this awesome experience where they're, you know, nothing can hurt them, or, you know, they could be who they want to be, but it's not always that simple. And when it's not that simple, I could see, you know, people spiraling.
I think, like, with the people I know, I think they let it, because for a lot of people who like play this game are very like attached to it, or like this is like the game they play on like Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever. It's like they go to work, they come home, like they get on the game. That's it. Like that's their fucking life. And it's, I mean, I'm all for it, dude. Like I love meeting people on here. I love talking to my friends, but like, it's definitely like some people like are turned for the worse. Some people like it's like a whole new experience, and it's definitely for the better of them, but it definitely can affect them either way.
Make so many friends that last years upon years, or even feels like it, and you can make connections with people that sure you might not ever meet. It all depends on how things go, but you might not ever meet in real life, and you can build friendships on that. But for me, in my best experiences have lasted now like a year or 2 years now.
The thing is, I actually talked about this just the other day, and the thing is, first of all, basing a relationship in this game, by that starting point, you already know that a lot of other people are going to get involved. Like, that's inevitable, no matter what you say to each other, even if you promise, you know, that no matter what happens, so long as we communicate it between ourselves. But it's inevitable that, you know, somebody else is not going to join in on something when when anything happens, no matter what it is. Like, someone is going to hear a word about it, and people in this game love to talk, and word gets around very quickly, and, you know, stirs things up.
It does really impact people on this game, because a lot of people that play this game are people who in the real world are very socially inept, are unable to really socialize with people. Like they can't do it face to face, but in this game they're able to because they're using, like people to project themselves. And because of that, a lot of people get attached in this game, which is why a lot of people call VRChat the high school drama simulator.
I think it can have a very positive effect for most people, because like a lot of people that I've met that get in this game are like very socially awkward or socially like not used to talking to people, so they've used this as a way to talk to people and get comfortable.
There is a lot of negativity on the game, but there's also a lot of positivity, and it just really depends on who you find.
Do you think that people get way too emotionally invested in this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
It depends on how emotionally invested you get into it. If you're just there for the fun, it's just you're making friends. But if you're on looking for something more, then you can be totally emotionally dependent on it.
I've seen the good side of VRChat. I've actually seen people get married and have kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Some people treat this as like, shall it be like a Tinder for themselves? And they happen to find somebody that's near them. And, things just escalate from that. And I see happy things come from this game. But I've also seen bad things come from it. And the people I know, it just seems like everyone kind of circles around like, I like this person, next week I like this person, oh, you were their friend, and now I'm going to talk to them, type of things, and it becomes really toxic.
I feel like it can actually be really deep in the sense of, like, it can provide emotional connection with the people you don't know too well, even if it's behind a computer screen itself, it can actually bring those people together tremendously.
Yes, I know someone, my VRChat sister, has a lot of stressful moments because of stuff that happens on VRChat. So
it really depends on what your reasons for coming on here were in the first place. It depends who you are and what position you are in your actual life before coming on here. If you want to come on here trying to make yourself be somebody else, eventually it's going to come crashing back to you that you aren't this virtual person. You are still you. You can't change your life on here. You certainly can try, but it'll never change the real you.
It really depends on how much someone socializes. Like just like real life, you find the right people to hang out with. Like you play with them long enough on here, you can just meet them in real life. It's make like a huge impact.
It depends. With the crowd that you hang out with, I know that there's a lot of good impacts and also a lot of negative as well. People that say, like you, for example, content creators, they tend to have a positive impact, but also they have their down days and negative sides, just like everyone else. Like I've heard stories where a lot of people have had really good moments, met up with friends, met up even with their partners, and actually did long distance on VRChat and eventually met with the person that they found. And there's negatives. I've heard stories of stalking. I've heard all kinds of negative things. It's just the crowd that you hang out with. I know that you can get stuck in the game, definitely.
It's like a double-edged sword, to be honest. There are some bad things on VRChat that may affect them mentally and may ruin their mental disability. But also there's so many good things on VRChat that are positive and help people.
Some people, get different values out of VRChat. Some people just play the game just to screw around and have fun, and some people really get into it and build stronger friendships and relationships, and that can definitely impact how much this game really means to you and what it does to you, not only in VR but in real life as well. But it can be a really positive thing. Like, you can meet a bunch of friends that you want to stay friends with for maybe the rest of your life. You don't really know, but it forms lasting friendships and possibly relationships and good times.
VRChat completely controls somebody's emotions, where all of their value, like personal value, comes from their interactions on VRChat. Like how many friends they've got, if they've got a relationship, and all that. And that is bad, but I've also seen it affect people's emotions in more positive ways, you know, helping build confidence that they didn't have. Example, myself, I'm socially inept, but VRChat's helped with that. And I feel a lot more confidence from that. Conversely, I've seen a lot of people whose confidence have been shot, and thus they get very depressed because of things happening on VRChat.
Would you say that you've fallen in love in VR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One.
Yes, I've fallen in love in VRChat.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I met the person in VR.
Yes, that's where I met my man.
Yes.
Once.
I have,
You have. Okay.
and I was blinded by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I could say it could have potentially devolved into it.
Oh yeah, I definitely have.
Yes and no. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I've met someone that I hold very dear in VR, and actually had the opportunity to meet them in person after that. So I would say that yes to that, I would suppose, is the correct answer for how it is.
I don't know if I would say fall in love, but I've definitely, you know, gotten a couple of more intense crushes, I'd say.
How is it that you let yourself fall in love with someone in this game?
For me, the most important thing about falling for someone is their personality, and if you have that chemistry with someone, of course, the looks to be, you know, it's kind of like the main part is the inside that counts. The outside, yeah, if it looks nice, well, okay, they look nice, but for me, it's more of the heart. So being able to talk with someone and even be hiding behind an avatar, if they fall in love with you for who you are and how you act, I mean, that's how I fell in love with my boyfriend that I'm currently with right now.
It's definitely crazy because we met in here, but we're actually from the same town and went to the same college and had just never met before this.
Oh, so you guys are like already kind of. Oh, you guys are already like. I guess you had that ability to kind of just meet regardless. Like it wouldn't, like if it wasn't VRChat, you could have possibly met in real life, right?
Yeah,
We were friends for a while before we started dating. And we were very compatible. Personally, I have a hard time finding anybody that I'm compatible with because I'm a very extremely sensitive person, and I take what people say to me to heart, even if they don't mean it to hurt me. I get hurt very easily. And I found somebody who is sweet and caring, and he cares for everybody.
Reasoning for using VR was it made it somewhat more compatible to use for long distance, and it made things easier in a way.
The thing is that a lot of people and a lot of people in my age group, which is like the 19 age group, 1920s to like 18, like that age group, for me, what I've noticed is that a lot of them kind of base it all off of looks. They judge how they want to love someone based on their looks, but with this game, you can't really judge by looks. Like if you look at me in real life, I am not a demon thing in armor with horns and yellow eyes. But what this game allows you to do is that you can see someone for their personality, and that's how I fell in love with my man. Lolo, he was sweet dude, he was fucking kooky as hell and loud as hell, and I just knew him for his personality and not what he looked like.
It's a good question because it kind of took me by surprise. Very much by surprise. Because it was one of my best friends. But then there was a moment where the flirting kind of started while there was tipsiness. and then it kind of clicked when we were sober.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on your view on the game itself. Like, it could be just a fun game that's just, all about screwing around and things like that. Or it could be viewed as a way to connect with people. And, I mean, this is a pretty social game that connects all sorts of people from around the world. And I guess I see it more as a way to hang out with friends and get to know people. So I guess it makes more sense to allow emotions to kind of build up on a platform like that.
So would you say that you've been heartbroken in VR?
Yeah.
Could you tell me more about
my latest ex just pretty much started kind of like ghosting me, and really like led me to believe a lot of things that weren't really true, and emotionally manipulated me to kind of be a little dependent, and then just up and broke up with me over text and didn't really give me any closure. And that makes your brain essentially start going in fucking circles. So it wasn't just like initial like cut off heartbreak. It was a, okay, what the fuck happened heartbreak. And then, well, maybe this happened heartbreak, etc., etc. And it kept on going down in a spiral. And so it like hit me in multiple stages. And that was a horrendous time. But thankfully I had some good friends around. Like you helped me a lot during that time. And I mean,
essentially what happened was things didn't work out between he and I, even though we weren't on VRChat. It still started from it, and yeah, I've had heartbreak mainly on VRChat and other means with friendships, losing people. But at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some. It's a matter of finding the right people for you, and it really takes time to just try to get in the right crowds.
It kind of came out of nowhere, really. I didn't really expect it to happen. But things seems to be getting a little bit rocky. I won't claim to be like a really good boyfriend, but something a part of me just said that this wasn't going to work, even though it was probably the longest relationship I've ever had. But the heartbreak just, like, you don't really feel it until after. Like, it hits a little bit more afterwards, like a shockwave almost. It was pretty tough, and I wouldn't want that on any of my friends.
December, mid end December last year and mid early January, me and the wonderful woman I was with at the time, she was going through a lot of hard things, I was going through a lot of hard things, and we ended up splitting to kind of give each other space and things. At the time I was a major alcoholic, and I resorted to drinking to help that. And she ended up blocking me on everything one day and like didn't say anything to me. Like, day before that we were totally fine. Day after that, blocked and deleted me, and it was just out of nowhere. So I took that really bad because I was heavily inebriated, and I tried getting hit by a train. Obviously I missed, thank God. It was an in the moment decision that I don't appreciate, in a clear state of mind. And it's just one of those things that's like, you can definitely go through a heartbreak. Like, the emotions in this game can definitely be real, and it can definitely affect you. And it's just, you have to have like a certain state of mind to be okay with certain things.
He was somebody that I had like really had a crush on for a while when I met him, and he was just like, he was always like the person that was like always like not super outgoing, but he was always friendly and always so kind to me. And I don't know, he just like stood out to me. People that are wallflowers always like stand the brightest for me.
we had a good relationship, but it was kind of rocky from the beginning. It was he didn't work, and I could tell it was really depressing him. So I took time out of my day and I would help him write resumes and I'd help him look for jobs. And then he finally got a job and I was like so proud of him, you know? I was like, good, you're getting your life into check and everything. Like, that's great. I'm so happy for you. He kept telling me he was going to work. Like, oh yeah, I'm at work. I'm at work. And this is when I was working, so I would go to sleep, you know? And then he would tell me he was getting off of work at 5 a.m. So I would wake up at 5 a.m., 2 hours before I was supposed to be awake, by the way. So I talked to him. Every time I would I'd call him, he wouldn't answer. And I'd message him and he wouldn't answer. And then when I would go to work, he'd be like, oh, hey, sorry. I was like super late out of work and I just got out of work. Love you, bye. Pretty much, that's all it was. Until one day he didn't know I got up super early. And I was like, oh, well, I wonder what my friends are doing online. And basically, we had a fight because he was online and he lied to me that he actually quit his job that he worked so hard to get. He was lying to me about it. And so I said, okay, well, I'll forgive you for that. It's fine. And then he was just being really passive aggressive with me. What's going on? Like, what is happening that I don't know, but everyone else knows around me? And it wasn't until I pried it from somebody and I said, what is he doing? And I said, well, him and this girl that I knew were cuddling last night. And I said, and mind you, when I was told these things, when I would talk about him, I would just become a complete mess. I would cry and cry and cry and cry. And when I heard about that, I just bawled my eyes out. And I confronted him and he was like, what do you want me to do about it? What, I can't be happy? And I'm like, how are you happy? You just broke up with me. You know, like you've moved on. And he lives not even 12 hours away from me. So what I did was when he was sleeping, I'd go to work and I'd work 12-hour shifts, you know, bust my ass. And with my first paycheck from my new job, I purchased a plane ticket to go see him. And I bought him like a little bracelet thing that he liked. And it was like for like our 3-month anniversary. And even me telling him that didn't make one difference at all. And I think that's what hurts the most, is that out of everything that's happened to me in this game, I always kept a barrier for myself. I was like, oh, I'll go so far, but I won't go that far, you know, just to protect myself. And I knew the moment that I went over that barrier, I knew it was going to be bad. And it did. It ended bad. So I keep myself really closed off now. I'm really like shy away from things because of that.
I want to say one thing. It's not located to the topic. It's on the topic of deep, but I think it needs to be said for a lot of people. I guess when it comes to, for the people that come on here because they're self-conscious, or they don't like the way they look, or they don't like the way they sound, or they don't like who they are, and they don't like where they are, they don't like the real them, and they want to come on here to change, just know that there will never be a better person in this game but yourself. And you can never make a better you on here than what you already are. Until you can look at yourself in a positive and kind and appreciating light, it won't portray through your character. It won't portray through this person that you're trying to make. You need to love yourself for other people, to an extent, will love you.
So if you'd like your comments featured at the end of the next video, answer the following question. If you were to start talking with your crush and flirting, what pickup line would you use? Only the best ones will make it at the end of the video. Good luck.